Welcome to Glasgow in Scotland, the beating heart of a nation and the home to two of the world's most famous clubs, Glasgow Celtic and Glasgow Rangers. Now this amazing city was full of passionate people who not only loved the country, but they loved football. And in a small town in the centre of Glasgow, Maryhill, a young lad was going to be born who had the potential to become a footballing superstar. Now Andy Ritchie had one dream and one dream only, and that was to play for his beloved Rangers Football Club. And the day he signed his youth contract with the club was the greatest day, not only him, but his family. And he vowed that not only would he play for Rangers in the next few years, but he would take Rangers to title after title after title. Now even though he'd not made a first team appearance, people knew he was going to be something special. And as he rose through the youth ranks at Rangers, the buzz around this young player meant they had famous girlfriend after famous girlfriend, and maybe the hype got to him and inflated his ego a little bit too much. Now that summer, Rangers had appointed themselves a brand new manager, Steven Gerrard. In his playing days, had a great career. The European Cup winner had a dream. Not only did he want to become a great manager, he wanted to be a good manager for Rangers and put Rangers back on the top of Scottish football. And straight away, from the off, he took an interest at every level of football at Rangers. And it didn't take him long to come across Andy Ritchie and realise this kid needs to be in my first team this coming season. He spent that summer mentoring Andy, preparing him for the first team. He was going to stick him out there and he was going to show the world what a talent he was. And the buzz around his first game was that intense that not only did he have the Queen wearing a Rangers shirt for the game, he had famous fans coming to watch his debut. Tragedy was going to happen for this young Scottish international. Day before his big debut against Celtic at Ibrox in the Old Firm derby, Andy Ritchie got struck down by mystery illness. Whilst he was lying in his hospital bed, worried, feeling tired, fatigued and very, very ill. He didn't understand what had happened. Everything so far had gone perfectly for him. And now, the day before his debut, he finds himself in hospital. Rangers paid for the best doctors to run as many tests as possible, and it didn't take them long to come up with a diagnosis. Andy Ritchie had got Crohn's disease. Now Crohn's disease causes diarrhea, stomachache, cramps, tiredness and weight loss, plus many other symptoms. It's a debilitating disease that inflames the bowel, and Andy had it in a severe way. He had to have his bowel removed. His life was never going to be the same. Now Rangers Football Club had looked after Andy Ritchie since he was a small boy, and they felt their superstar prospect was being snatched away from him. They did everything they could, but with his youth contract about to end, they saw no reason to sign him to a professional deal. So Andy was without a team, without a career. His dreams were shattered and he found himself weak, tired and unable to walk, let alone play football. Andy Ritchie was never going to give up. This young, determined lad still had a dream to play football. So he spent the next 12 months in recovery and he learnt new ways to eat, learnt new ways to train. He was going to get back on that football pitch. Didn't matter where, didn't matter how, he was going to be a footballer and he wasn't going to let this disease rule his life. Now 12 months later, Andy found himself back on his feet and he felt good. He didn't feel like the player he used to be. He felt tired a lot of the time. He felt slower, but he still had great mentals and he still had great skill. But the footballing world didn't want to take a risk on a player who could have a recurring injury. This disease can flare up every couple of months. No one wanted to invest in him apart from one team, and that team, Scottish League 2 team, semi-professional club, the historic Queen's Park. Andy was super grateful. He signed a part-time deal on £240 a week, but he was proud and he had a smile on his face when he stood on Hampden Park to promote the new kits for the new season. He didn't care who he played for. He was just happy that he was going to be playing football that season. Hailed as the Scottish Edgar Davids because he wore glasses when he played, he knew that one day he was going to be professional and play for Scotland. The rest of the world didn't think it, but Andy Ritchie knew. So with everything nearly taken away from him, could Andy Ritchie make it as a footballer? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to follow the career of Andy Ritchie as he tries to climb to the top of world football Will he make it? Will he fail? Will his Crohn's disease return and ruin his footballing career? Well, we're going to find out in the story of Braveheart. Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to Braveheart. Thank you as always for joining me. Hopefully, if you enjoy this video, you're going to smash that like button. Really helps support me on my channel and gets more people finding the channel. Hopefully I'll get more subscribers. And I know you want to help me out, so thank you very much. If you are brand new, thanks for checking out this video and the channel. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll be a subscriber. Also, if you all want to help the channel a little bit more, you can always pledge to my Patreon. You'll find a link to that and everything else down below in the description. Now, before we get started, I just want to give a big thanks to Andy Ritchie, the guy in the video. He is one of my subscribers. He's a great lad. He's a very funny lad. If you want to follow him on Twitter, you'll find a link to his Twitter down below. Now Andy, he's been a sub of mine for ages. We spoke here and there over the last year or so because he's got Crohn's disease and one of my friends has Crohn's disease. So, you know, we talked about it a little bit. I know a bit about it through my friend's experiences. And Andy reached out to me last week and said to me, have you ever thought, or maybe would you think about doing one of your story experiments, maybe highlighting Crohn's? So I was like, great. So we came up with this idea of using Andy, basing it on a bit of truth and then sticking on my Football Manager story behind it, and just having a look at how someone who had the world at his feet, had got a disease, had a lot of things taken away from him, and can he fight back? Can he get his career back? Can he get back on his feet? And I was interested to do it. It's something different, and hopefully we can maybe raise awareness for Crohn's. Now Andy has said if you're suffering with this and you want to talk to him, feel free. Like I said, you'll find a Twitter link for him down below in the description. But yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch this video. So without further ado, this is Braveheart with Andy Ritchie. Let's get started. Now, as the story talked about and showed you, Andy was a wonder kid. He was going to have the world at his feet. He was going to be a superstar right back for his country, for Rangers and some big teams around the world. Now, when I made him, I didn't make him a wonder kid. He could be a good Premier League player, but he'll never be a wonder kid. Basically, he's missed football, so he's missed a year out of his career anyway. And the illness itself has took a lot away from him. Now, I never take away his mentals. If anything, it made his mentals stronger. So he's brave. He's a good decision maker. He's determined. He's a good team player, and he's got a great skill because he was a good young player. So he can tackle, good throw with the ball, can cross a ball really well. He's got a few extra good skills really for an attacking fullback, wingback. Could even become a winger. It's his physicals that have dropped off because of the illness. So he's not as quick, as agile. He's not as strong. His stamina has gone right down because he can get tired quite easily. So it has taken a lot away from him. But can he still carve out a career, especially starting out where he is? I expect so. It's going to be an interesting career. And as the story said, he's now at Queen's Park in League 2. And the semi-professional. And obviously he's on a part-time contract. No one else wanted to give him a chance because this injury could reoccur at any time. So, you know, it's a big risk, a big gamble, and no one's willing to take it on him, apart from Queen's Park. So fair play to them. But you'll see he had 3 years at Rangers in the youth team. He was getting better and better and better. He was just on the brink of obviously making his first team debut. Got the illness. So if you notice there, season 18-19 is missing. He had a whole year out and a bit more really, but he's back. Now I've put the disease, Crohn's disease, into the game. Actually, I didn't know you could do that, so I've learned something new. So from now on, the Boodiverse, because this is part of my Boodiverse database, Crohn's exists. So you'll see it there. We had it for a long 9 months, but with a bit more recovery as well. And it could reoccur. He could get it back. Now onto his information page, and a lot of things have changed for Andy coming back. He's reflected a lot. Now, his personality is driven, because he's driven. He wants to get back what he feels like was taken away from him. And he's realistic. He knows he's never going to get right to the very, very top. But he wants to make it. He wants to step on the turf for Rangers mainly. Because He loves Rangers. Just one first team appearance would do him, because he was nearly there. So it must be really frustrating. So he's a Rangers supporter, but he also likes Queen's Park because they're the club that have given him his chance back. Terry Tibbs, of course, is his agent. If you watched any of my other videos like this, you know everyone's got Terry as their agent. He's also his friend as well, because he didn't throw him away. Terry looked after him while he was recovering and helped him get the contract at Queen's Park. And he's friends with Steven Gerrard because, like the story showed you, him and Gerrard became friends over the years. Gerrard felt really bad for him, so they've become friends. Now, when it comes to long-term plans, I'm not going to go through them all, but because no one's giving him a sniff, I've put as many things in place so that Andy doesn't go to the Premier League, any of the big teams, any of the big leagues, smaller leagues maybe. He doesn't want to play for Celtic, you can see that there. He just wants to play for Rangers really. But will that ever happen? Now he's starting here at Queen's Park, a fantastic little club, and I'm sure they used to be amateur. I think they're changing things now, aren't they? I know they're semi-professional now in the game. They play at Hampden Park, which is theirs. Strangely enough, it was once the biggest stadium, I think, for a crazy amount of time in the world. Until, I can't remember, a stadium in Brazil, I think, maybe Mexico, I think it's Brazil, was built for a World Cup or something. So it used to be the biggest stadium in the world, and it's theirs. But I think they're finally selling it in real life to the Scottish FA, and they're going to move to a little stadium behind, and that's going to be happening on the game. It's called Lesser Hampden, which, you know, makes it sound crap. Well, it's not Hampden Park, don't get me wrong, it's tiny, but it's probably going to suit them more. It'd be good to see if Queen's Park can grow, because they're one of the oldest teams ever, so it'd be lovely to see this team now grow into a good club. But Andy is their key player. He's still a good player. He might get injuries, and he's susceptible to a few different injuries. It's not just going to be Crohn's disease. His injury proneness is high because of his condition. He's not always going to be the fittest lad, but he can still be a player when he is fit. He's going to be their best player. Now, they are favourites to go up. That'd be pretty cool. I've made him a loyal lad, so I'm hoping he stays here for a little bit and doesn't just have a good season and jump. So that's it. I think we jump forward now. I've got a few saves. I'm going to jump in at different points. I want to have a look at the career of Braveheart, Andy Ritchie. Well, we've jumped forward 6 years, and we now find Andy at Hibernian, and you might notice straight away that he's transfer listed. Don't look too much into that. We'll talk about that in a second. But we're here on his main page, and I think his technicals and his mentals have stayed pretty much the same. His physicals have improved. He's 26 years old. I mean, they're not the best, but he's got a bit more stamina, a bit more strength. Maybe he's come to terms with his condition, and he's getting his head around it, training wise, eating wise. It affects the gut, doesn't it? And I know it can take a lot away from you. And you've probably seen the picture of Andy at the start. And looking into the disease, I found a few websites where people who have had it and have lost all that weight have really worked new ways how to train, and they've built themselves back up. So it is, it is possible. He had 3 seasons at Queen's Park, and then he started his 4th season, and then I'm guessing because he was part-time, I don't know, Hibernian have come in and got him on a free, absolute bargain, and he's had 3 amazing years for them, like really good seasons in the Premier League. He's going into his 4th season, but as you've seen, he's transfer listed. Now, he's not unhappy. I don't think he's asked for a transfer. I just think he's a good player, and Hibernian need the money. Hibs need the cash. So he's worth quite a bit of money now, only 8.75 million. That'd be pure profit. With Hibs, wowzers, 2 cup finals, 2 runners-up medals last year. That is gutting. He has made his Scotland debut though. Well, Hibs have actually been at 2 finals, losing them both. One to Rangers, one to Celtic, and he lost his Scottish Cup to Rangers. That's devastating. One thing though I find awesome in a way was his first season at Hibs. He'd already played Rangers at home, but the first time he actually got to step out as a first team footballer, professional footballer, on the hallowed turf of Ibrox against Rangers, they beat him. I made him an icon, and I did that because he'd been with him since he was a young boy. He was going to be the superstar, the next Cristiano Ronaldo with right backs for Scotland, and everything got snatched away from him, and the club had to. They didn't give up on him straight away, but they had to. They couldn't. He was about to sign a new deal. His deal ended. What were they going to do? So, you know, they've honoured him in a few different ways, and one of them is by making him an icon. So the club love him, like they love Gaza, like they love Laudrup. Similar to like Manchester City. Now, you may or may not know, but there used to be a player for Manchester City called Paul Lake. He grew up round the corner from me in Denton, near where I went to school, and he was going to be this amazing player. My local school, he was a captain. He took them to like national championships. He was going to be hailed as the next England captain. He was a great player, and then he got his knee destroyed and his career fell off a cliff. Didn't really play, but City love him. City fans love him. He's always been honoured by the club and looked after by the club. So it's a similar situation here. Well, here we are, and it's now July 2028, and we'll find ourselves in Holland. PSV. Great choice, Mr. Ritchie. I'm impressed. He's 29 years old now. Got 38 caps. Got a decent contract. 2 years left on this contract. He don't like he's changed at all, really, from last time we've seen him. And there's a reason I've come back here. I save it every season, and I've come back, and I've been looking through the seasons to see any interesting points to jump back in at. And this year for Andy Ritchie was special. So we're going to have a look at why it was special. Well, first let's look at his career still. And at Hibernian, Hibbies, he played 2 games again, like he did with Queen's Park before he left. And then PSV got him at an absolute bargain, 3.7 million. Now, he had the major injury of Crohn's disease, and straight after that, he got a major injury by twisting his ankle. That's just bad luck, 5 weeks out. He's had quite a few. He's had broken ribs, a hip injury that were major, and then he's just had an injury, a major one, sprained knee ligament. So he's a bit, you know, he gets knocks all over the place, but he's determined, man. He don't give up. He fights through. He gets through it. Now, I'm not going to go on his milestones because I don't want to give it away too much. I want to share this with you bit by bit. I'm going to show you why this season was worth jumping back in for, why it was so special for Andy Ritchie. Now, he won the title, but he'd done it back to back. So they've just won the league by 2 points. It was close, but they did win it the season before. Now, this season, he also won the cup, the Becker final. It's like the FA Cup of Holland. So they've done the domestic double this season, which was absolutely fantastic. He played in the final. I don't think his fitness was right there, though. He ended up getting brought off. But it gets better. They've done a treble. They must have got knocked out of the Champions League because they're in the Europa League. So they must have gone 3rd in the group. And they won the Europa League this season. So he's done a treble. But then this summer, it was the Euros. And Mr. Ritchie, well, he found himself in the Scotland squad. Now, he's got quite a few caps and he's a good player. But there's another good right back knocking about in the Budiverse. And he's a little bit better. And I think he gets a nod more times than Andy. Luckily for Andy, he was injured. So he didn't come to the Euros. So the number 1 right back slot, as long as he was fit, was Andy's. They then beat Croatia 2-1. Andy getting a goal penalty. They then drew with a powerhouse of world football, Germany. He played, he got brought off though. Next up, second round of the Euros. Poland. I don't think he played in this game. He was on the bench, but if you look at his fitness, he kind of tires out a bit. He's had a long season. He's just won a domestic treble. He's played a lot of football. And as we know, Andy's stamina and fitness ain't the greatest. Up next was the Ukraine, and they absolutely battered him. If you're wondering who the Unflushable is, this is the Budiverse. So each story gets built upon another story. And I'm trying to build a universe of football, really. So the Unflushable is one of my patrons, and this Budiverse you'll find down below. You'll find a link to it down below. It's the most up to date. Next, on to the semi-finals. Scotland, Russia. Scotland won. Richie didn't play. No, he didn't even get on. If you look at his fitness, oh, he's tired, isn't he? He looks tired. Hopefully, though, now they're in the final. They're saving it for him, and he'll get a game. Not only were they saving him for the final, but Andy Ritchie, Mr. Ritchie. This is when I saw this, I creamed my knickers. I was like jumping for joy. It's only a game. It's a bit of fun, this video. Obviously to raise a bit of awareness for Andy's condition in real life. But Andy Ritchie scored the winning goal in the Euro final. Now, I haven't seen these, but if you notice with the stats, Italy had twice the amount of chances, twice as much on target. Here we go, Unflushable, great first goal from Ross. So that was 1-0 Scotland. Then we've got Italy, played in green, which just I don't like that. It looks green, doesn't it? Like a dark racing green. Here's DeLuca. DeLuca, by the way, is one of my boys from the Bootyverse. The DeLuca brothers, who are absolutely amazing. Here's Richie's penalty. Little redhead. Bottom corner. Great goal. So there we have it. That's why I jumped in. 28. I mean, how amazing is that? Now, he got his first international goal that year as well, so it's a very special year. And look, I never thought he'd do that. Scored the winning goal in a final. When you click on it, you're going through the years, you're like, yeah, won the league. And you kept, last year, come on, always won the league in Holland. That's brilliant. I might jump in at this point. Come to the next year, and it's like, oh my god. I mean, they did lose. It's like the Super Cup, that. But wow. So here we are now, and it is now 2033, and I've come back at this point because this is Andy's final season as a footballer. He retires next season, so I thought we could have a look now. Well, he's still a player at the very end of his career. But we're starting here on Scotland, so don't give too much away. You'll see he's not one of their key players anymore. He used to be. And Scott McTominay is still a vice captain now. Nice. And the 17th in the world. So, the main theme of this, the main dream that Andy Ritchie had, was to go home and play for Rangers just once, step out at Ibrox in his Rangers uniform, his Rangers kit. Did it ever happen for him? Damn right it happened for him. Buzzing for him. When he left PSV, we'll have a look when he left, he signed for Rangers. Now, we're looking at him here, he's 35 years old. Right. But, I mean, I say his technicals are still pretty good. Dropped off a bit. His mentals are always going to be amazing. His physicals are really bad at the minute. You can probably see why this is going to be his last season in football. But what a career. 51 caps. Now, like I said, there was a right back who was a bit better than him. Who got way more caps. But to have him miss the Euros, because I don't know, if he hadn't been injured, he'd have gone to the Euros. Andy would have been in the squad, I reckon. But would he have played? Would he have scored a goal in the final? Well, he had 4 full seasons at PSV, and we'll have a look if he won anything else while he was there. And then Rangers bought him for 5 million, so there's never been any big fees for the lad. Even though he's a good player, and he performs. I mean, even last season, he only played 17 games, and I'm guessing he's dropping off a bit. He still gives you a 7. I don't think he's ever got less than a 7. His overall average rating is a 7.31. So in his last year at PSV, the year after the Euros, he won the Johan Cruyff Shield, which is like Super Cup. They didn't win the league, so he didn't do a triple back-to-back league wins, but he did win the cup and probably become a PSV legend. Yet, he's on the icon list with some absolute proper players. Jaap Stam, Robben, Koeman, Ronaldo, Van Nistelrooy. Now, he went to Rangers, and don't forget, Rangers are a lot better these days, and they have been for the last 10 years on this game. But Celtic kept winning the league. Now he's come in, he's won a Betfred Cup, which is great. But then he's lost the Scottish Cup, lost the Betfred Cup, lost the Scottish Cup, won the Tunnocks Caramel Wafer Challenge Cup with Rangers reserves. That's great. So that's his last season, so he's dropping down in the reserves a bit. But he won the Scottish Cup, so I'm buzzing with that. And he won the Premier League. Finally, Rangers have won a Premier League. I don't know, maybe it's a first, I don't know. But they've won that. And he's done a domestic treble, really. Not in the same season, but he's got all the big ones in Scotland. Now, if you want to pause it and have a look in a bit of detail what Andy won, what he achieved, there's his biography. I think you can clap this lad. Because, yeah, that's pretty cool. So there we have it. That is Andy Ritchie, retired 1 year later. He did only play 1 game for Rangers in that last season. Injuries, fatigue, better younger players coming up. But, you know, he's more of a coaching role maybe than a player last season. But his deal was up. He was on 100 grand a week, which is a lot for Rangers. So he's finally retired. He wants to be a manager. I don't know if he's going to be a good one. He's got his National B licence, which is quite cool. So he must have been doing some kind of coacher badges. There we have it. That is the end of Braveheart featuring my subscriber, Andy Ritchie. Thank you, Andy, for letting me tell this story and be a part of it and help me do it. You're a legend. Good lad. Like I said, if you suffer with Crohn's or you want to talk about anything or you just want to follow him, you'll find a link to Andy's Twitter down below. Say hello. He's a funny lad. He's a good guy as well. Especially when you think what he has to go through on a daily basis. Some days he has good days and bad days, so his humour especially on Twitter. He is a funny guy. So yeah, thanks Andy, mate. Cheers, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm gonna smash that like button and maybe even subscribe if you are new. Like I said, there'll be some download links below for the Bootyverse. All the stories I've made so far are all in there. If you're one of my patrons, you'll be in there and can have some fun if you're bored while we're all in self-isolation. So I just want to say I hope you're all happy, hope you're all well and safe, because it is quite a worrying time for everyone. So I hope I've given you a little bit of escapism, and I really do appreciate you watching. I really, really do. So take care. I'm Bood, and I'll see you next time.